All right, good morning, everybody. You're listening to College Hill Perspectives. I'm Tony Salimo. Welcome to the program, and today I have a great guest. An interesting relationship. I met this young man a few years ago when he was taking one of my classes. He wanted to be in radio, and it is Paul Jetter, who is the founder of Safely Back Home, a very interesting concept we're going to be talking about on the program this morning. Paul, welcome. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, before we get to the program and the guests, just want to remind you to get over to our website at sussex.edu and check us out for all the courses coming up in the fall, and also our slate of concerts that have been running now. We have a couple of more left through the end of July here, and into the 1st of August is the last one. That's our concerts, or our, what we call Thursdays on the Green, running every Thursday night to August 1st, 6:30, right out there on the green. Bring your lawn chair. And we enjoy great weather and great music right outdoors under the clear skies, hopefully, and the stars. Also, check us out for courses coming up the fall. Getting close, believe it or not. Summer flies. Classes start on September the 2nd because Labor Day is early. We have a short summer. It's the 1st. So get in there and register because classes are filling up quickly. So Paul Jetter founded this program. Paul, we met. Paul was taking my course in radio, believe it or not, and when you hear him speak, you'll understand why, because he has golden tubes there in the throat category. And then Paul has this other program that he developed called, tell us a little bit about yourself with this program.
Sure. Well, the program's called Safely Back Home, and it's designed, it started back when my father had dementia, and he was getting to the point where he was going to start wandering. And my concern was that as his dementia developed and he would no longer be able to say who he was or where he lived, that if he wandered, we were caregivers for him. Our family were caregivers for him. If he wandered and got lost, my concern was that he would not be able to tell someone who he was, and that person would not be able to identify him, and the police would not be able to identify him. So that goes back almost 5 years, Tony, when it began, and I was looking for a solution for my father, as so far as wandering went, and I checked all the wandering programs at the time, and they all required wearing a bracelet of some sort, and I knew he'd be resistant to wearing a bracelet, and so it's evolved over 5 years, but basically I devised a visual. It's sort of an ID garment, you can call it, but discreet, something that's non-stigmatizing, that a person will have an imprint on the sleeve of a garment. And through that process, we'll be tied in with law enforcement, whether it's 911 or Project Lifesaver, who we're partnering with. And long story short is that if someone is lost and someone in the public wants to help that person, it's a very quick process. They read what's on the shirt. They call a phone number, which is a 24-hour number. They give an ID number, and that person is rescued through law enforcement.
Now, and you have this situation, obviously, with different types of ailments. You have with Alzheimer's, autism, Down syndrome, development disorders. And talk a little about Project Lifesaver, how it came about that you worked with them.
Okay. Project Lifesaver and Safely Back Home became partners in March of this year. And I was drawn to Project Lifesaver. They were one of the organizations that cover wandering, specifically wandering. And I read about them. I admired what they did. They began back in 1999. Chief Gene Saunders, he had been a director for a search and rescue group, and he's a former sheriff as well in Virginia. And they would go on search and rescues. And, unfortunately, they would, most of the time when they found someone who had Alzheimer's, the person had already passed away. Because there's only a 24, 48-hour window, typically, once somebody wanders and they have no sense of danger, to find them alive.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's quite...
Well, depending on the time of year, folks with Alzheimer's, dementia, and also people with autism and Down syndrome, one of the problems is they don't have a sense of danger. So as far as the elements go, as far as it being extremely hot, extremely cold, people with autism are drawn to water, bodies of water, which is dangerous for drowning.
Mm-hmm.
So usually the window is 24 to 48 hours to find someone and know that you'll be able to find them in decent shape. After that, it becomes a problem. So with Project Lifesaver, I'd read about them. I also learned through them that wandering was not limited to Alzheimer's, that it would also had to do with autism. And again, back to Project Lifesaver, Chief Saunders. Chief Saunders saw the idea of using this LoJack technology back in 1999 for tracking people who, at the time, it was mainly Alzheimer's. And he devised, through LoJack, a system where people would wear bracelets. It's a radio transmitter.
Right, right.
It emits a radio signal. And that the sheriff's departments have receivers that could lock into that radio frequency. So if you're my caregiver, Tony,
Mm-hmm.
And we're registered for Project Lifesaver, you sign me up. You fill out an enrollment form, which includes a photograph of me, your contact information, say you're my brother,
Mm-hmm.
medical information about me, crucial medical information, and then one other part that I really like a lot, which is specific phrases, specific ways to communicate with me that I'll respond to in a positive way.
So all this is done through a registration process,
Right.
and then located into a database?
It's exactly right, into a secure database with Project Lifesaver. And then typically what would happen is if you're my caregiver and I wander, whether it's wandering from home or at a store or in a park, you would call Project Lifesaver, their 24-hour number, which is the sheriff's department in each county.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But a 24-hour number, you'd say, Paul's gone again, Paul's lost. You would give them my ID number. They would actually have it, but you give them my ID number. And they immediately go to their secure database. They have all that information I just described. They have an idea of the location of the call. You tell them approximately where I was lost. And they'll send out immediately an officer who's trained in working with people with Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, Down syndrome, and who has a receiver. And that receiver is activated to lock into my radio transmitter frequency, the signal.
Mm.
And what they do is they have a 100% success rate once they've locked into the signal in finding that person. And they usually find them within 30 minutes. And what I learned, and I liked a lot about that, it's using technology. Also in New Jersey, what was pretty amazing is that the entire state is covered. So every single county, every single sheriff's department participates in Project Lifesaver. And that was very attractive to me, so that no matter where someone gets lost, if you registered me here in Sussex County,
Mm-hmm.
and I got, we haven't spoken about the garments yet, but I get, say, a polo shirt or
Right,
a hat.
right.
On the shirt is going to be printed on the sleeve, Project Lifesaver, Safely Back Home, the logos.
Yeah, we have one right here. It says you have the Project Lifesaver logo, the Safely Back Home logo.
Right, and the wording on there is not always going to be what you see there, Tony. On the blue shirt is more typical. What we do is we allow people to select what they want written on the sleeve, whether they want to personalize it or not. The crucial information is it'll have the logo for Safely Back Home and Project Lifesaver. It then says Project Lifesaver, the phone number. In that case, that's the phone number if we were registered in Sussex County.
Right.
That's
So
a 24-hour number.
Right, and then an ID
And
number.
then my ID number.
Right.
And the catch, though, is if I'm wandering outside of Sussex County, say I'm wandering down the shore in Point Pleasant or something,
Mm-hmm.
and for whatever reason I got there, and someone sees me, and this is what it really comes down to on the program, is it comes down to goodwill on the part of the public, also local police. If someone sees me and can gauge just by my body language
That you're lost.
I'm lost, I'm disoriented, something's not right, and they want to help, this is where it becomes a key. I don't know what the actual numbers are if 100 people pass by. People's nature is they want to help. However, our normal nature now is we don't want to get involved also. And we're hoping someone will take care of this person. But if let's change roles now. Now I'm the lost person and you're a good Samaritan or just a concerned person in the public. You'd approach me.
College Hill Perspectives, folks. I'm Tony Salimo. My guest this morning is Paul Jetter. He is the founder of Safely Back Home, and he's working with Project Lifesaver, and we're discussing wandering for people with various diseases like Alzheimer's, autism, Down syndrome, and other developmental disorders. And Paul came up with this great program. But go ahead.
Thank you.
Where you were.
Thanks, Tony. So I'm lost down at on the boardwalk at Point Pleasant, and you see me, and you want to help me. So you walk over to me. You don't run over to me. You just gradually walk over to me. And you see on my sleeve the Project Lifesaver phone number and an ID number. By the way, people can personalize the shirts. It could either be just the information that we're talking about, or if they prefer to have some phrase on there, such as please call Project Lifesaver phone number, or if they'd like to say, if I appear lost, please call. They can be as specific as they want. But if they just want it generic, it'll have the Project Lifesaver phone number. So you see me, you approach me, and you can see on the sleeve as you approach me this information. And you follow the instructions. You call the number. And what happens is the call comes into Sussex County to the 24-hour number here. You say, I found this guy. He's on the boardwalk here in Point Pleasant. His Project Lifesaver ID number is 410. They know exactly who I am at that point. And what they do, even though they're here in Sussex County, is the sheriff from Sussex County, his organization, forwards the file, contacts the Ocean County, it's either Ocean County or Monmouth County there, Ocean County Sheriff, says, we have a lost person. They're on the boardwalk. His name is Paul Jetter, because they had the file. His contact, they forward the file. They forward the file to the sheriff. So they have all that same information.
And they have the same information in front of them, sure.
Right in front of them. And that officer who goes out to rescue me has that information. So when he approaches me, he knows what to say to me, how to keep me calm and that sort of thing. And
well, he'll have information or things that he could say that are familiar to the person.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So the and that's part of what's in that secure database, specific phrases like that. And then the rescue ensues. So that officer goes out. If it's in an area where the sheriff's departments don't have jurisdiction over all areas. So if it needs to go through the local police, say again in Ocean County, the sheriff's department here in Sussex County would contact the local police rather than the sheriff's department, and they'd forward them the same file and the same information. And then the key is that it speeds the process for the rescue, and then that the contact, the family of the person is contacted, and then there's an identification, and that's the key. Is when if there's a call from 911, and 911 is usually what will happen if someone is lost. You see me, even before you see a shirt or something, you may call 911. When 911 arrives, if there's no identification on the person's taken to the police station, and it could be many, many hours before they're able to be identified.
Yeah, but then they get into disorientation even worse, and it's more traumatic.
Exactly. That's a good point. And so I've spoken with state police and local police and the sheriffs, and they like the program because it's several hours involved, often, even when someone's brought to the station, to figure out who they are. So it works on that basis as well.
This is a great idea. We're going to be talking more about this in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to College Hill Perspectives. My guest this morning is Paul Jetter. He's the founder of Safely Back Home, working with Project Lifesaver to help people that wander and get lost that are having certain types of developmental disorders, Alzheimer, autism, and the like. And we'll be back. I'm Tony Salimo right after this. All right, we're back, everybody. You're listening to College Hill Perspectives. I'm Tony Salimo. My guest once again this morning is Paul Jetter. He is the founder of Safely Back Home, and they are working with Project Lifesaver. We're talking about people who get lost, wander, who are suffering from various types of ailments. And we were talking earlier, just before the break, Paul, about the actual paraphernalia that people can get and wear.
Right. So what happened is we launched officially just a week ago with Project Lifesaver at their national conference, and we are both nonprofit. They're already a nonprofit, Project Lifesaver. We're going through the filing process to become a nonprofit, and we wanted to make sure these garments are all affordable. So, and there are two types of garments, by the way. We have new garments that people can order, which are high quality, 100% cotton polo shirts, sweatshirts, fleece, and hats, and hoodies, because it has to be the outermost garment that someone's wearing. Right. So we're in summer now, but as we get into the other seasons. But the other thing is that I've gone to a lot of support group meetings, parents of children with autism and caregiver support group meetings, and it's obvious that people, including us, we like to wear the same garments much of the time, and we have familiar garments that we like to wear very often, and it's even more the case in the communities I'm speaking of, we're talking about. And so what we're doing is if somebody has a favorite sweatshirt or a T-shirt or something that they wear all the time, we will imprint that as well. That could be sent in.
It could be an existing
okay. yeah, like the favorite garment, whether it's grandpa, whether it's a child. That
they have their giant Super Bowl shirt.
Exactly, exactly. And that they're very comfortable wearing, and they can send it in where we will imprint it. And send it back with the same information, the same Project Lifesaver and the ID information that would be on a new garment. And we're also in New Jersey. We're going to be doing on-site printing. We're based out of New Jersey. So we're going to schedule dates in different counties that people can bring the garments in and have it imprinted on the spot. So the family member doesn't have to be without it for 2 weeks, which is about the other turnaround time. And to answer your question, how do people order this? They go. It's through Project Lifesaver's website, Project Lifesaver International, and that email address is www.projectlifesaver.org. And then on the left side, it has a Safely Back Home logo as where they're partners. And you go to the logo and it opens up to their store page. And it shows all the garments depending on age and colors. Right. Another thing that we did with the garments, and I learned this from the parents, is none of them have tags. Everything is tagless, so there's no sensitivity on that. And also, we're using a printing process that is practically as soft as the fabric. So it's not a transfer process where there's a feel to it, where kids would maybe be scratching and pulling at it.
Right.
It's as soft as the fabric. And it's completely durable. So the garments that people can send in, they could be a favorite garment, that's fine. But it could also be something like pajamas that, that's the concern about wandering or bolting, eloping at night is serious. Bathing suits, people have told me, they'd like that because this is waterproof. These imprints are waterproof, and they're meant to be washed. They'll last a lifetime of the garment. So what we're doing now is we want this to be available to everybody in New Jersey and everybody around the country. Project Lifesaver has a certain number of enrolled families, people who are already enrolled and wear the bracelets. We want to make this available to everyone, not just folks enrolled in Project Lifesaver.
Right.
And we're doing that pretty much county by county through the sheriff's departments, and we want it available to all families. Will be to schools. I've spoken with principals of schools of children with autism. They like the program. They like it especially for their field trips, but they also liked it. One principal, actually from New York, had told me she would like them to have the children wear the garments in school as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're comfortable. They're attractive. The idea is that it be a garment that the individual enjoys or is comfortable wearing, and that the parents or the caregivers are comfortable having their family member wear it. Not comfortable in that they don't feel their family members being stigmatized, and that it adds
It's a subtle way.
It's a medium point. It's not. There's you have to be able to let the public know that this is how you can help,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to. You don't want to make it too much. As you try to make it as subtle as you can, and it's an emotional decision actually for a parent. It would have been emotional for me too with my father if I had done this too early. Like if I had with my father in the early stages of dementia, he knew exactly what was happening. It scared the heck out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have ever broached the subject of his wearing a shirt like this because that would have devastated him and me. And parents make the decision depending on where their child is on the autism spectrum. If it's the key is that it's comfortable psychologically and physically with the person wearing the garment and the family, and it serves its purpose. So we want to open this up to everyone, individual families, schools, children with autism, summer camps. Also, though, the senior citizens, nursing homes, assisted living, at-home care, anyone who where wandering is a factor.
Do you see this going further? Do you see this with young children that aren't afflicted by where parents they're
right.
out at parks
right.
and amusement parks and they could wander off?
Yes, and it's open. That's completely fine. I mean, the same idea that and it can do that. The principals of these schools, I mean, the principals of any elementary school, when they're going to a public venue, maybe they're going to the Bronx Zoo or they're going to a museum or something, they're going to be wearing shirts more than likely. Not always.
If they're in a group, yes.
In a group, yeah. However, to have something on the sleeve, yes, they could certainly do that. And the key on this is that when somebody's lost, is that immediately the trained people in law enforcement are brought in to rescue that person, and that they're able to be identified quickly, because the panic time is when your family member is lost. I'd had it only happen once with my son, who does not have autism, none of that,
right.
But he was about 3 or 4. We were at the Rockaway Mall, maybe 3, and for 30 seconds we lost him. Okay, he was shorter than the
right,
level of the place,
right.
And you respond right away. You do whatever you have to find your kid, but that sense of panic, I still remember it. So it's many times that for these families when someone becomes lost, because it goes on for a while. So the idea is to reduce that time and have a system where the police are on board with it, the sheriffs are on board, and they're able to find the person quickly and also identify them quickly and reunite them with their families.
College Hill Perspectives. I'm Tony Salimo. My guest this morning is Paul Jetter. He is founder of Safely Back Home, and they're working with Project Lifesaver, and we're talking about identifying people who wander, who may be afflicted by diseases such as Alzheimer's, autism, and other developmental disorders. Paul, have you had any, in approaching this subject and bringing this type of information to maybe certain groups of public, have you had any people saying that there may be resistance to the clients who might?
Yes. It's a personal decision. It's not for everyone. There are families, parents have told me they don't want to put anything on, they don't want to, in some way label their child or their parent. And I completely understand that. It's not for everyone. And that's why we've made it discreet. We're thoughtful about it. Minimal amount of information. It's on a shirt sleeve. It can be wherever they want it to be positioned, but we're putting it on a shirt sleeve basically now. And no, it's not for everyone by any means, and it depends on how advanced, say, the Alzheimer's is. Mm-hmm. If a person still carries a wallet or a cell phone, or a person can say who they are and where they live, this is they could still use this as a supplement. We view this with all the technology that's out there. This is sort of to complement it. So folks who are using GPS, say in their shoes, and people who are using the radio transmitters, this is not to replace it. This complements it. It's sort of just an added layer of protection and security.
Yeah, the other part of that would be more so with the I guess those who are obviously with children. The parents are going to be the ones that might have some resistance.
No question. Yeah.
But when you have Alzheimer's victims, so
right.
to speak, they themselves might be more resistant to having a tag, so to speak. So
yeah, it depends on cognizance. How aware they are of what's happening. And when I speak to parents and others, all we're talking about on this is it's not a solution. It's giving additional peace of mind. Just that if the child or if the senior were to wander and become lost, that the public can help in an efficient way and in an expeditious way to have them rescued through law enforcement. And that's all. It's an additional peace of mind. It's another tool. Mm-hmm. We don't say it's anything more than that because it's dependent upon the public being concerned and helping. But it's also local police. I mean, very often what will happen is local police will find the lost person. And this way they're able to quickly identify who that person is versus, the person sitting in the police station and contact the family.
All right, Paul, I want to thank you for coming in today. Always run out of time, not material, so we'll see how it goes. You'll be launching this pretty much around the area and getting it moving.
Yeah, we're launching in June. By the end of this month, we'll be launching in Sussex County.
All right, Paul Jetter, thanks for being with us again. Paul Jetter, the founder of Safely Back Home. They are working with Project Lifesaver to have some kind of identification material as far as clothing goes, and it's a great concept, great idea. And again, thanks to Paul for being with us today. You're listening to College Hill Perspectives, folks. I'm Tony Salima. We'll be back again next week. Thanks for being with us.